First week of Raid has been open now for a little while. We got some hotfixes coming in. We also have the first official DPS charts. That's right. What did DPS look like that first day the Raid opened? We're going to check that out. And I might have the Midnight and Legion Remix launch dates for you guys. Yep, you heard it here first. I might have it for you guys. So let's just jump straight in here. First off, world first Mythic Soulbinder has been killed by another random guild, Soma. Soma is the name of the guild. They killed Mythic Soulbinder, so they are now in first place in the race to world first. As I said, your usual suspects, you'll see them blast through all these bosses pretty quickly once they actually start doing this. Right now, we saw just the other day, they were still running some heroic raid over and over and over. They're gearing out. They have their strategies. They'll eventually pass a lot of these guilds. But cool to see. Yes, second boss has now been down. We also see here that the Raid Great Vault changes and other hotfixes coming in. No more cloaks. Thank God. No more cloaks coming from items like your time-walking raids and things like that. It's pointless. I said this the other day. I'm like, Blizzard needs to freaking code it in so we're not getting things that fit best in slots that they've already filled in with something else for the entire patch. I don't need cloaks right now, Blizzard. Please don't give me cloaks. Blizzard heard me because, you know, they watch this. They watch my content all the time. It's very obvious. And they got rid of cloaks. So no more. You will no longer have cloaks coming in through your Great Vault, at least for time-walking content. And then the other content, obviously, there is no cloaks right now. For Delves, they fixed a couple issues here. They also addressed an issue where people were not getting Keystone Hero credit. So that's been fixed. And then some item rewards things here, some dungeon issues that they also addressed for Eco Domodani and Tazavesh the Veiled Market. They also did some nerfs for Tazavesh. That's right. So Tazavesh right now, there's a hard mode version of it. Pretty difficult. It's at a +10 difficulty. You know, if you scale it basically to what typical Mythic Plus looks like. They did have a big nerf to this Hyper Light Bolt, which was evidently one-shotting people. So they had to give it a 20% nerf to stop that from happening. So if you got one shot by it yesterday, shouldn't be as tough today. Also, Ulduar time-walking trinkets have been nerfed. Blizzard does not want you using these. Some of these were considered to be best in slots still. They've been nerfed by 5% across the board, so that'll no longer be the case. If you got one, you were excited to use it, your excitement is no longer valid. So there you go, 5% nerfs on those. Blizzard wants you using the current trinkets in the game. And this is the big one here. This is what I really wanted to get into. We got the first DPS charts officially for the Mana Forged Omega Raid Day 1. What did the DPS look like as everybody jumped in balls first? So let's see what's going on here. Overall damage. Number 1 on the chart, Affliction Warlock. That's right. And we were saying Warlock's been pumping lately. So obviously Affliction, look at this. All 3 specs in the top 6. What the hell? All 3 specs in the top 6. We got Affliction Warlock, Demonology Warlock, and Destro Warlock all sitting. I mean, you pick your flavor. Whatever kind of Warlock you like to play, they're all pumping right now in overall damage. Elemental Shaman sitting here at number 2. Ass Rogue and Outlaw Rogue also have 2 specs in the top 5. Look at this. I just pick Warlock or Rogue. What do you want to play, guys? They're doing great right now. Outlaw Rogue and Ass up here. As I said, Demonology and Destro. We see Shadow Priest also doing really well, as expected and as I asked for from Blizzard. I said, listen, we're going Void. Please, make Shadow Priest really good right now. I don't play it, but just for the sake of lore, they need to be good right now. We're literally sitting in the void, fighting a void being. I think Shadow Priest should be pumping, and here they are doing all right. Arcane Mage, also doing good. Marksmanship Hunter, Devastation Evoker, one of the top boys to finish out the season last. I think the last chart we looked at the end of last season, Devastation was number 1. They're still sitting here in the upper half of these charts here. Feral Druid, Frost DK, Beast Mastery Hunter, Havoc Demon Hunter kind of rounding out your top half there. And then at the bottom we see Arms Warrior, Fire Paladin, Retribution Paladin. Wow. Yeah, give it 2 weeks, they'll be top 6 for... Yeah, I believe it, you know. Majority of the players play this. Blizzard probably pays attention to that and is like, oh, we can't have Ret Pally not doing good. That's like 50% of the player base. So there you go. Ret Pally currently at the bottom. Augmentation Evoker. I mean, anyone who's ever beyond below Augmentation, they need to get fixed because everyone knows Augmentation should always be a bottom. They're definitely a bottom. And then we see Balanced Druid, Survival Hunter, Unholy, Frost Mage here, Sub-Titty Rogue, round out your bottom boys. Now let's look at single target, right? What does the boss damage look like? Still, Warlocks are pumping. My God, I mean, we've entered the age of Warlock. Affliction Warlock here at the top, Elemental Shaman, Ass Rogue, and then Demonology and Destruction here. Top 5, 3 Warlock specs in the top 5. That is stacked. Arcane Mage, Feral Druid, Unholy DK. I saw some Unholies pumping yesterday in Raid. Marksmanship Hunter, Shadow Priest, Havoc, Demon Hunter, Beast Mastery Hunter, and Frost DK rounding out your upper half. And then we got here, again, Arms Warrior at the bottom. Just Arms, my God. Just the Warrior specs in general for DPS kind of hurting here. Fire Damage, Retribution Paladin, Sub-Titty Rogue, Augmentation Evoker, Windwalker Monk, Furry Warriors. So we see kind of some of the same stuff here. Not much difference between single target and multi-target. But what we can see is that Warlock, Rogue, Shadow Priest, like these classes are doing really. Feral Druid coming up like big, man. A lot of changes to Feral Druid, and looks like those changes have really helped it out for sure. Red is just super dependent on their 4 set. Yeah, right. You got to take that into account, and that's a good point, Cadence. These numbers, people don't have 4 set yet. There are people who walked into Raid day 1 with 2 set, got it pretty early on in the Raid because of Vault and what they got from there. So there are some people who had 2 set. But there is nobody, certainly nobody who had 4 set. You know, I don't even think that would be possible, at least for the first couple bosses here. So going in, no 4 set, no real trinkets. These are extremely under-geared numbers. More gear-dependent classes will certainly be behind right now as you look at these DPS numbers. But it's still fun to look at, and this essentially lays the floor for us for the rest of the season. So looking here, the biggest movers up and down from the end of last season into this season's Raid, we see Outlaw Rogue, the biggest mover up 12 spots from their previous spot when looking at the previous Raid. And then biggest mover down, 12 spots down. Here we see for Augmentation Evoker. My God. Well, so to be fair, this is based on most likely the last set of charts from the Undermine Raid, which was people who were for some reason still running Undermine even though this patch had already launched. Like they were running Undermine Raid in the last week, the first week of this preseason. So it's kind of weird. I don't know who was running Augment. Most likely these are a bunch of Moonguard people just leveling up Augmentation Evokers because they want to be scaly boys and augment their shit in the middle of Goldshire at night. But for right now, we're going to just take this with a grain of salt, I guess. Augmentation popped off that last week for no reason, and now they're back down. So we'll see where all this actually stands. Next week will give us like more solid numbers in terms of where things really are. But whatever. Augmentation down 12. Outlaw Rogue up 12. Those are your biggest movers up and down. Then you can see everybody else moving around here a lot too. Okay, enough with the DPS. I got dates, boys. I got dates for you guys, and these dates I think could be accurate. Here we go. So Legion Remix, it has been data mined that the Legion Remix date range is October 7th to January 19th. Okay, so what does that all mean? Okay, so does this line up with what we've been thinking? Yeah, kind of. We've been expecting Midnight potentially to launch, in that January timeframe, right? We also see that the way the current chart has been laid out for the year of 2025, player housing is supposed to launch by the end of the year, okay? If that happens, this would be kind of weird because that would mean pre-patch would be dropping maybe during Legion Remix. I don't know if that's how this will work, or they're setting it up so pre-patch does in fact launch during Legion Remix, and then we get Midnight right after this ends. So the way these dates would work out right now, last time we had a Remix event, there was a 7-day gap between when Mists of Pandaria Remix stopped and the next patch launched. Okay, so if this in fact did end on January 19th, the next Tuesday would be January 27th, right? Because this shit would launch on a Tuesday. January 27th could mark the launch of Midnight or the launch of pre-patch for Midnight. I'm not sure. The thing that's confusing me here is, you have your timeline for 2025 with the player housing launching at some point this year. Now, player housing is expected to be a pre-patch feature for Midnight, and that would be launching during Legion Remix. Now, that would line up with this thing. Let's pull it up real quick. 2025 WoW roadmap. And we'd be able to see it in terms of when it's supposed to launch here. So 2025 road. Oh, this is the old one with the weird player housing. Okay, right here. No, that's still the old one. Whatever. So we see here that it is launching during Legion Remix. So if pre-patch holds at this point to where we think it could be, well then maybe pre-patch does launch during this. Maybe pre-patch does in fact hit during Legion Remix. Oh man, gonna take that month off. PTR is fun. It is. It is. So if that's what's going to happen, if player housing is launching during Legion Remix, which means pre-patch could be launching during Legion Remix, pre-patch typically lasts 1 month. That could line up, as of right now, with pre-patch hitting December and October, November. You know, November, early winter is where they have it marked here. So that would mean a November pre-patch launch or a December pre-patch launch. Pre-patch typically lasts 1 month, and then expansion hits in January. So this could actually be maybe a mid to... I can't imagine launching during Christmas time. Pre-patch launching during Christmas time could be a freaking, shit show. I don't know. But what I can say is, at the earliest now, it looks like we would be getting Midnight expansion on January 27th, which would be that next Tuesday, or it could be a month from then if they're waiting to launch pre-patch then. January or February. That's our date range now. January or February, we are getting Midnight. That's what I can tell you, at least for sure. And we got a Midnight trailer here, so let's see this thing. We are getting the launch of Midnight, remember, or the launch of the Midnight trailer, and all this shit actually announced next week. I'll be live all day on Tuesday for this. We got an official trailer for the launch of this thing, so let's see. Ominous. I just got horsecock during the trailer. I just got fucking horsecock during the trailer. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of fitting that there was a giant shadow being cast on Dornegal. You could consider it to be a giant horsecock. Okay, all right. Damn it. So I should have known. I should have. Sam will never learn. Yeah, bravo, Kate. It's indeed. What's it all mean? Big void portal? Alright. We're in the real world player housing? Ooh, the portal over the city. Okay, cool. I'm excited for this. And remember, August 19th, I'll be live all day. We'll be front paging on Twitch, having a good time, and we'll watch the trailer together. We'll also watch the big reveal from Blizzard in terms of all the features and everything else coming with this expansion. Should be fun. Should be fun. We'll see what the actual launch date will be once they finally reveal it. And that is all in terms of news.